Senate bill and the House bill. They're going through both houses to try to get this set up. And what they're doing is they're trying to give authority to the program that Elon Musk has on there, that SpaceX program, to allow them to close the beach anytime they want to, and they consider it under what they call space flight. Now, the only thing is they say it's strictly for the area down in Harlingen or down in McAllen, whatever that beach is down there. But the verbiage, have you ever signed a contract? They always screw you with the fine print. Well, it says down over here that, it covers that angle and stuff like that. So what ends up happening, the fine print specifically states any county with 150,000 inhabitants or less. So because it has that statement in there, that includes Aransas Pass and all those other counties that are circled on that map. And because they're circled on that map, those are pretty much all the counties that if they deem they have space flight in those areas, then they can shut them down. But again, too, that's what I was gonna talk about a little bit later on in the live video feed. He's saying that we're spreading misinformation. But the information is because we've all signed contracts throughout our life, and this is a contract. And that contract, it has that in there. It also says that any town that is touched by the tidewater of the Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico, that is also every single one of them towns from here to Louisiana. And that's how they're going to get it. That's how they're going to get all them other beaches to close down because of space flight activity. And again, right now, yes, Boca Chica is the only place that has that actual space set up so they can launch an aircraft. But what do they deem as space flight? Like all those other towns, somebody could come in there and say, hey, we're going to have space flight activities, so we need to close down this beach. So it's a catch-22. And that verbiage, if they want us to back down, they need to make it specifically for that beach, not have it open-ended the way they do it. And again, too, like I said, it's 2 or 3 of the verbiage statements in there that qualify for them to shut down those beaches. What we need you to do is to start forwarding emails and call every single one of those people on the list and tell them that you are, what is going on and that you don't want them to vote for this. Because that's going to be the other thing, too. We heard that they were actually kicking people off the water in those areas as well. So, and then it's going to be a Class B misdemeanor if you're told to leave and you don't leave the first time. The second time, it'll be a Class A misdemeanor. So, yeah. So everybody please tell them to do the same. They need to start emailing. All the emails are in the post that I put up, and also all the phone numbers for everybody on there. We need to start raising some cane with them. That was the last one, yes, because the other one before that, they signed against it or voted against it one day, and then the next day they brought it back up again and voted for it to pass. I don't understand how legally that works. So they already voted no, but then they re-vote for it again and they pass it. So I have no idea how that works. It's under the post section up at the top. You have to scroll to the right a little bit. Exactly, because once they do that, they basically any company that wants to have what they consider space flight activities will lose those beaches. Yes, and please let us know. We do have the Save the Beaches email in that deal as well. So when you send out your email, if they try to say, well, nobody's complained, by us being in there, we'll be able to tell, hey, y'all have received 1,000 emails from angry people. Or, yeah, they're right. They only had 25 people complain. You know what I mean? So, yes. Yes. That and share the post too. Like I said, more people that you probably don't even talk to, if they see it, maybe they can chime in too and try to help us stop this action from going through. Yes, sir. You have a good one, boss. All right. Bye bye. Awesome. So that is a concerned citizen that finally saw the post about uh, the Senate bill and the House bill that they're trying to push through to basically give um, SpaceX rights to close down beaches. But again, too, this is leaving an open doorway for any beachfront area that has less than, what is it, 150,000 inhabitants or 250,000, that they get to close it whenever they want, kind of deal. You know what I mean? So pretty bad. But what's up, guys? This is Team Hard Life Captain Albert Sanakuchi, and I'm here with Mr. John Weber. And you have been one of the main guys that has been on the forefront when you were here in Corpus with the Desal program, along with Rachel. I mean, I know a lot of the information she got was from you. So we definitely welcome to the channel, boss.
Thanks. Thanks for having me here. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great, boss.
Okay, perfect.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up on my computer because sometimes they comment too fast and I won't be able to see their comment or we can't go back and address it. But again, if you can introduce yourself, like how you got into all of this, and that way the guys here on the channel understand who you are. I mean, I kind of know who you are with just our dealings here, but the channel, this would be a great opportunity to share that.
Okay, I'm John Weber, and I've been involved with the Desal, following it for about 2 years. I go to a lot of council meetings, and I do a lot of public records requests. So I request for emails between city council and other people, or text messages, and uncovered a whole bunch of things with city staff, with the water department, and that's kind of what got me involved with this whole desal thing, was figuring out what was going on, who's talking to who, what they're not telling the public, and been kind of a long fight. Did a lot of public records requests and done a lot of studying about desal and research about it, so I kind of familiar with how it all works. Yeah, so that's kind of my
So,
background.
so was there like one instance where it just says, okay, I got to speak up now about this? Was there like a certain something you read, or was it just the topic of the desal that got you interested in coming forth with this?
Well, some of the stuff that really got me interested, what the experts were saying in the application for the discharge permit. And one in particular, Ben Hodges, he had an exhibit in there. It's called Exhibit 16, that he talks about. Um, he talks about the salinity, and he talks a lot about hypoxia. And hypoxia just is pretty much means there's a lack of oxygen, so organisms can't breathe in a hypoxic zone. And so that got me interested in hearing about like near field modeling and far field modeling, and what's the difference, and why the city still refuses to do a far field model of the whole bay system.
So I've only heard of far field modeling. What's near field modeling?
So near field modeling occurs within like 400 feet of the discharge. And the city's done it. They use something called a core mix model. And so that's done real close to where the discharge is. But they've pretty much refused to do any far field modeling of the entire bay system. They are going to do some far field modeling now. A company called GHD is kind of a subcontractor to Kiewit, who won the contract to build the desal plant. They're going to do some far field modeling between CC Polymers in the Inner Harbor and the Inner Harbor entrance, like where the bridge is today, the old bridge that goes over.
So real quick, you said it was a subcontractor for CC Polymers, right?
Well, actually, CC Polymers is a separate company, and they have a permit to do a desal plant right now. So they're the only one that holds a intake, a water rights permit, and a discharge permit. They've had it for probably like 5 years. They're a plastics company. and they just weren't able to. They shut the plant down once, then they shut it down again. They have new ownership, but because of the price of the plastic they make, there's really no economics for them to go into business. So they've kind of been shut down, but they have the desal plant about 90% complete, and they've never operated it.
That's the one that's already been for what, a couple of decades in the bay or something like that that you're talking
Well,
about?
it's I think it's been permitted for about 5 years. It's had the permits, but originally they were called like M&G something, and then 3 companies came together to create this new company called CC Polymers, and I think one's like Taiwanese, one's Mexican, and one might be American. And they've just kind of mothballed the plant right now. It's sitting there. The city kind of wants them to operate it just so they can get that water from that plant because it would be pretty quick to put that in operations. It's rated for about 10 million gallons a day of fresh water.
But that one was the one. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to get you. That's the one that's already built. That still isn't up and running. Correct.
Correct. Yeah, it's built. Most of it's built, but it has never been running. It's permitted, but has never gone into operation. And
Okay. So with
it's
that
quite
being
a
said,
ways.
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. It's quite a ways up the inner harbor, so it's like I think it's at least a mile or two up the inner harbor.
Wow. So even further back away from any real freshwater inflow to help spread the brine that they're planning to put back into that area.
Exactly, and that one is really it it TCQ did a terrible job, in my opinion, of permitting it because the way they're going to do the discharge is just an open pipe. It's just gonna go into an open pipe, all the brine discharge, and it's just gonna fall to the bottom of the ship channel and just sit there,
Wow.
basically.
Well, it's only going to sit there for so long. It's going to build and build and build and build and just keep. And then once it starts pouring out, that's like, you're filling up a bowl of hot water. You know what I mean? Once it goes over, then all of it's going to come rushing out and stuff like that. Wow, that's crazy. So, but again, too, the one that they're getting to do the far field modeling or even the near field modeling is a subcontractor of that company that already has a desal plant that's still unfunctionable, right?
Well, not exactly. So what the city did was they sent out a request for proposal, and they got 3 proposals from 3 different companies, and they went with Kiewit. So they decided Kiewit was gonna be the contractor to design and build the desal plant in the Inner Harbor. And then Kiewit is hiring, GHD to do the near field and far field modeling.
But that's
Yeah,
still a subcontractor of theirs, right? Or is it a third party that has nothing to
so
do with them?
yeah, so CC Polymers is a third party. They have nothing to do with Kiewit or GHD or anybody or the city at this point. City wants to get their water though right now.
Yeah, but that's that. See, that's the deal, though. If I'm not mistaken, they were talking about bringing in that water into the bay or to Corpus, and it was exceedingly expensive. That's why they never followed through with it. And even if they build this desal plant, it's going to be on the other side of the channel, which again is making it extremely expensive to even come over here. So they've already pre-sold it to incoming businesses. If that's everything I have correct under from the information I've gotten, if I'm incorrect, please correct me. But
Yeah, it does sound like the city, has already got customers lined up for this water, and they're industrial customers. So like you said, the water really isn't for the residents. It's for these industrial customers. They already have it lined up for. And the CC Polymers plant is actually on the other side of the Inner Harbor ship channel. It's on the north side, so they would have to figure out a way to pipe it, to wherever the customer is gonna be. which would probably be somewhere, in Refinery Row. Yeah. So,
So
but
again, uh,
you know,
two desal plants that will in no way help the city.
exactly. It won't help the residents at all. Yeah. And they've known it the whole time. None of this water is for the people, but they got to get the people on board because they're going to be the one footing the bill paying for it.
Yeah, give me just a second. Everything go good? Uh, With weights or anything?
Nothing. Just doing whatever I could.
Okay.
And just I allowed my stomach did with that taking that stuff is that helped today.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of messed
Okay.
me up a little bit.
All right.
And plus, got the call that it was expecting, but no, from the meds.
Mm.
If you deal with insurance, that was still over $500. There's no way. And I mean, that kind of put me in a
Yeah.
because that's one of the things that really.
I did see a deal with like they had a. I'll have to get back to you on it, but I saw something where it helped with medications like that. It was like a deal that was through the government to give like assistance to high price medication like that. I'll have to look for it and stuff like that. It was like an RX supplier discount, something like that. And I think I used it once, and like the medication I was supposed to get was like 120, and it brought it down to like $16 or something like that.
Even if I had to pay 40 for it, that's still way less than $500.
Yeah, roger that.
Plus, I didn't know I got to get a blood monitor too. I had one, I thought, and I can't find it, so I get a new one. That's only $20. But the one they wanted to give me was like $60.
Of course. It's probably the same damn one. They're just getting their sales pitch over it. So
because of what the insurance covered.
Yeah.
They's like, man, just go get one of those. It covers everything because you would have to get an individual with the insurance. So
Yeah.
that's $90 right there.
I have noticed that too, that like with insurances now that it's more expensive to buy the same items when you can go out of pocket and pay way cheaper.
Yeah, even if I get one of the better monitors and stuff like that, it's still like, I think $29.
Roger that. Okay. Well, have a good day, boss. All right. So, no disrespect, but why in the hell would I want to pay the water bill if it's not for us? That's exactly why we're up in arms. Is one, two, they're getting permitted to pollute the water that we're trying to. I mean, okay, so they're getting permitted to pollute the water that they have been so adamant about punishing the rest of us for any kind of pollution we put into the water. But now they're saying, oh, but you make millions of dollars, so we'll let you do it. But me and you try to do it, and they will find the living hell out of us. And then they're going to give them a bonus. Oh, well, you can't get rid of all the sludge, so we'll allow you to do 3 million gallons of sludge on top to pollute the water with the pollution you're putting back into it.
Yeah,
I think I got that all right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a very risky thing for the city to be doing this without doing the proper far field modeling when the experts have said that they really need to do this modeling of the entire bay system. I actually brought up a slideshow we've done at council. I think I could show it on this if I flip the
Please do.
camera around.
Yeah, all you have to do is the two angles. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. All right, let's see what you got.
Oh, well, we'll go this way. If people could see that.
Low battery.
This,
Low battery. Low battery.
Got my other phone. Sorry.
okay. This
What?
shows where the plant's going to be located, where the intake and where the discharge are. So if you can see that, that's the inner harbor. I'll zoom in a little bit here. There's where the intake is going to be. And there's where the discharge is going to be. They're very, very close together. And on the top, you see the NBEPS intake. That's the Nueces Bay Power Station. And so the Nueces Bay Power Station is a natural gas power station. And they take about 300 million gallons a day out of the inner harbor, use it to cool the natural gas plant, and then they dump that into Nueces Bay. And I'll get off that screen now here. If you want it again, just let me know. And,
Yeah, definitely. Like any of the slides that you show here, definitely send those to me after the video or whatever. It don't even have to be
okay.
today, because what I can do is I can create a slideshow and share it with the channel as a video short, so people can get to the cliff notes of everything that we talked about, kind of deal here of what we're looking at. But this is, and you know, and we kind of talked about it a little bit. It's like they want us to foot the bill. Okay, I hear that, but again, it's not helping us with our drought conditions at all. That's one. Two, what happens when it's shut down? Who's going to get fined? Because I know right now the city or Nueces County is holding that company that's building Bob Hall Pier. If they don't have it ready by a certain date, they're going to get fined, and I believe it's like $10 million a day, something like it's a huge amount. And this is a fishing pier, so just to try to put in perspective, me and you kind of talked about it last night. This is a fishing pier, and this company is going to get fined $10 million a day. That's for us. That is for us. So I'm glad they're holding them accountable. But how do you think those companies are going to hold us accountable, and for how much, when they're supposed to be making, say, $10 million a day off of the 3 million gallons of water that they're promised, and they don't get their 10 million or 100? Shit, it's probably even more than that, how much money they're making per day. How much are they going to hold us accountable?
That's a great question. The council needs to answer that for sure. But I'm guessing what they'll probably do is if the plant shuts down or if it's only operating at half capacity, that the capacity that they're missing, they'll just take it from the residents. Because they won't want to get sued from these new large water users, like you said. So they'll just say, well, we're short 10 million gallons a day. I guess the residents, you could just shower every other day now or whatever. I mean, that's what they've been doing so far, right? I mean, you can wash your car, every other week now. You can't wash your boat in your driveway. You can't pressure wash your house. You can't water the trees. You can't water your grass. All the restrictions have been placed on the residents, not on the industrial users.
Exactly. Yes, they are on us and not on industry use. So that's where I really have a problem with this, because one, we've already covered 3 instances where the city of Corpus Christi residents are going to get hammered. One, the waste that they're promising to put back into the water because they have permitted to do so is the brine and the sludge. That's one. Two, the funding that it's going to cost to just get it to get started is already being put on us, yet they're selling the water to that other company. Where's that money going to? Like, if they're selling it to them, is that going to go back to the Texas residents who are paying for that? Or where's that money going?
Yeah, right now all the money is going to the developers, Freeze and Nichols. It's going to Kiewit. That's where the money's going. I think Freeze and Nichols has already received something like almost $30 million. And they're not a good actor, in my opinion. I don't think they know what they're doing regarding desalination. They're just fumbling their way around. They're using very poor assumptions to figure out the cost of this plant. So they did a feasibility study, and they used 6 cents per kilowatt hour for the price of the electricity they were going to buy for this plant. And so I did a records request and asked them, how much is the city paying for the Owen Stevens water treatment plant for electricity over the last 12 months? and the city's paying 8.1 cents per kilowatt hour. So that means that Friesen Nichols is already off by 35% and how much the energy use is going to be for this plant. And energy is one of the largest operating costs for a desal plant. They use a tremendous amount of electricity. And that's how Friesen Nichols sold it to the council. They said, well, we can do it because it's affordable, but their assumptions for their just electricity rate, for one, were way off. If they would have had the assumptions correct, we wouldn't even be this far down the road. We would be doing groundwater or a different water source that's much more affordable.
So real quick on that electricity um, cost per kilowatt. That is also to how many years ago, decades ago, when they originally did this. I know that has since then increased because I have been paying for electricity here in the city for 10 years, 11 years. And it every couple of years after your contract ends, it goes up and goes up and goes up. I think when one of those instances in the last 11 years has my bill gone down a little bit, and you know what I mean? And since then, though, it's been going up and up. It's actually supposed to go up almost 25 to 35% this next month, I think, when my contract ends and the new one comes in. Because at that time, that was the lowest amount I could get at that time. So for them to be still quoting it on that, they need to get up to date on what it's going to be costing for that, how much they're going to be using, and how is this going to affect the city? Because I know for a while there, they were talking about we were going to have rolling blackouts. So that's another one. One, it can't run when there's red tide and brown tide. Two, if there's a rolling blackout, that means they're going to be affected too. Or wait, no, hold on. Just me and you are going to be affected, and they're
Yeah.
not. I mean, what's going to happen here? You know. So, and again, too, if they do, it's because they're trying to protect the city from getting sued because they're not allowed to operate.
Yeah, good points. I mean, if they're going to do a rolling blackout, they're going to leave power to that facility and they'll cut it off to the neighborhoods.
Yeah, that is again another one, and so we're covering so many. I'm already at about 10 different things that I'm already okay. This is bad. This is bad. This is and we're just going like this, and we've yet to find anything that is in their favor, other than okay, a company's gonna come in, bring more jobs. In reality, though, the rest of us that have already been here, that are struggling to pay our bills, we're having to come out of pocket to bring that company here. We are. I wonder how much they're putting in their pocket to try to bring them here.
Yeah, I mean, a good
Aren't their bank accounts
example.
like public record or something like that too?
Yeah, a good example would be like Gulf Coast Joint Ventures. So that company came here and they supposedly were going to hire 600 people, which is a good amount of employees. But the
Hold
thing,
on, real quick, boss.
yeah.
Hello, live on the channel. Who's cooking dinner? Oh, okay. All right, fine. Uh, so, food at the house, but I'm doing a intermittent fasting because I was putting on a lot. Man, I got up to 207. I was almost at 270 pounds. I have never been that heavy or fat in my life. Like I'm like, no, I'm not. So I'm intermittent fasting. I've dropped 15, 15 pounds in the last like 3 weeks. So I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna try to get my weight down to where I want it to be, and then I'll change it up from there. Maybe I'll stay on it just to keep. I was 189 getting out of the Marine Corps, so that'd be cool. That'd be real
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So like,
man, it just,
so like
I don't.
Gulf Coast Joint Ventures, so they're out by Gregory, Portland. So they came to town, brought 600 jobs. But how many of those jobs went to locals? Not very many. You know, the janitors, the security guards went to locals. All the engineers, most of them came from Louisiana. Um, so all the high paid jobs came in from somewhere else. Low paid jobs, some of the locals got. But just think, so that plant uses 10% of all the water that's produced in Corpus Christi. And it's only
10%?
10%. They use 12.5 million gallons a day for 600 jobs.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's of all the water. I mean, Corpus Christi only treats about 85 million gallons a day of treated water. So of treated water, they're getting even more than 10% just for
Yeah.
600 jobs.
So I don't know about y'all, but and I was kind of noticing this last week, like the water smelled real chlorinated this past week. And I kept wanting to bring it up on the channel and see if anybody else had noticed that, you know, in the Corpus Christi area. Um, but I was just like, man, why? Like I could smell a lot of chlorine when I was showering, and you know, when I'd go wash my hands, like I would smell my hands, like, dude, that's a lot of chlorine in the water. Like, wow. So before I grew up old school, drinking water from the water hose, you know, from the spigots
Mhm.
outside. Because if you went inside, you were grounded. Like, oh, you want to be inside? Well, stay in the room. So we learned how to be outside from 8 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night when the lights came on the street lights and stuff like that. And so when my kids were like, "Oh, we need bottled," we've been like, I was always against it. Now I'm like, yeah, no, we'll buy bottled water. Like, and it's crazy that we have to live in this kind of lifestyle because they refuse to upgrade our water system here in the city, which actually affects us directly. And they're so adamant about, oh, Desal, because we're in drought conditions and it's not for us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
man,
not for us. Our, we're in drought conditions because the reservoirs are low. They're at like 16% now. Uh, You put a desal plant in, that's not going to make the reservoirs any more full, you know? Um, yeah, so we'll be in drought restrictions for basically forever until we get a hurricane.
yep, yep. That's basically what it's going to take. It's going to take some, an act of God to fill them all back up and us be good. But then again, too, when is the next one going to come? I wonder if there's been any kind of um, model or like history that they can say, hey, man, we run into this problem about every 4 years or every 10 years we run into this. You know what I mean? I don't know if have ever been asked that or looked into that. It just kind of popped into my head right now. So,
I did. I actually talked to the head of the Bureau of Reclamation because they own the Choke Canyon Reservoir. And that guy, he was there. He said he's been working there 24 years, and he wasn't worried about the drought at all. He said, based upon his history with the Bureau of Reclamation, every 7 to 10 years we go through this, and then we get a big rainstorm, and it fills up all the reservoirs. Sometimes it overfills them, and then we're good again. And he didn't think the desal was the solution. He said just conserve until we get that big rainfall again, and then we're good again.
but
Now,
again, that's us being on
yeah,
reserve while industry is still doing whatever the hell they want to. Have they? I did see where they supposedly were going to raise their prices on that. Has that actually gone into effect, and or have they actually been held accountable for overusage for, I guess, whatever they're supposed to not be using per day kind of deal?
well, actually, it was about a year and a half ago. The city raised the price on some of the large industrial users, but then last year they appealed the rate case. It was mostly Valero was the one behind it. Got a bunch of neighbors to sign on to it, other companies, and so that appeal is at the Texas PUC commission right now. They've gone through, I think, like 17 different updates on the PUC website. And the last I saw, they still had not settled. But when they do settle with the city, if the city does settle with them, the city will have to give up some of those rate increases. And then when they do that, they'll have to raise the rates for all the residents. So we'll see what happens.
So again, they say these big businesses are here to support the community. How are they supporting the community if they're take? Oh, but when we're supposed to be on kind of the even level, oh no, we're not gonna carry our load. We're gonna give you to carry our load because we're making too much money here, or we supply a lot of jobs here.
Yeah. And the rate that they're paying is still much less than ours. It's about $2 per 1,000 gallons less than what residents are paying. With their new higher rate is still much less than we are paying. But yeah, they appealed the decision, and the reason they can appeal it is because people and companies within the city's limits can't appeal, because they can vote for the county or for the city council and vote for the mayor. Only companies and people outside of the city limits can appeal. But what the city did was they did something called an IDA, an industrial district agreement. And last year, they just approved 15-year industrial district agreements with these large companies. There are about 92 different agreements. And what it does is it makes them outside of the city limits. And some of the council people were saying, no, we should not do these industrial district agreements. We should just annex them into the city limits. And if they would have done that, then they could not have appealed. But since they gave them this tax break and gave them these industrial district agreements for 15 years, they can appeal every time we raise the rates. It was totally ridiculous.
So they can appeal, but it doesn't have to be granted.
True. The PUC commission will decide, if it's granted or not. They're still getting great tax breaks, though. I think they're paying 74% of their property tax now, instead of like 100%, like all the residents pay.
Wow.
And they don't have to get permits for anything on their property. So if they put in electrical work or upgrade, they don't need any permits for anything. They don't have to pay for any of
We
that.
have to, like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Like, that's the same. Like, we have to fall under all of that. I mean, I wanted to put a new fuse box in my house because we was going to cause electrical. Well, we can't do it unless you have that permit pulled. Dude, if I'm having to do that here, why aren't y'all having to do it over there? Like, that is wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They donated a lot of money to the people in office. So they got their industrial district agreements.
That would be nice to have, to be able to show the proof of what companies are donating to these people of position, especially Mayor Paulette, the city council manager, who's doing a freaking horrible job. Both of them are, and the several other ones that are in their pocket. This will show the city that these are bought and paid for. What do they call those guys that go out and advertise for companies to go in there and help them out?
Lobbyists?
Lobbyists. They're lobbyists for those companies, just wearing a mayor tag or a city council, manager tag instead of a lobbyist. You know what I mean? That is.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why they're in their office, and they had a big group of these industrial users get together, and they created their own fund, and that they funded the people they wanted to get in office so they would get their way. Once they got them elected, and most of them did get elected. So.
Yep. Well, again, guys, this is where it's really important that when it's time to vote, take some time off, go and vote. This is how we get rid of all these crooks in office, and we start getting people that are going to take care of us before they take care of industry, because industry, at the end of the day, is not going to take care of us. It's already proven that when they argued their amount of money or the amount of product that they're using for electricity, for taxes, for water, and then who's being hurt the most? Our kids. Because when we can't pay the light bill or we can't pay the water bill, we can't pay, we're sacrificing, birthday parties or going out to eat with our kids or with our family or, deciding, hey, you know what, that upgrade we were going to do in the house, we're just going to have to put a Band-Aid on it till we can actually afford to do so because these multi-billion-dollar operations are getting their way and we are getting screwed.
Exactly.
That's where I'm seeing.
I see in the comments, I think we should all vote for Oscar because he's going to
Yeah.
fire them all.
Yeah. That's crazy. But I'm wondering if we can get that information because I thought their tax records have to be public for that because now we can say, okay, kind of like what we're seeing in politics right now. Some of these guys are holding a $225,000 a year job. Now they're worth $170 million, several years
Yeah.
later. Like, how are they getting that rich? Well, obviously they're doing something wrong for the people and they're doing great for the businesses. So I think we need to make that public. Like they need to show which companies are or which people are bought out by these companies. And
Yeah, those are all public records. They're whoever donated to their campaign. You can find that out on I think it's through the city's website. The person that does most of that, her name is Isabella Riza, and she's got all that information.
she's the
Yeah.
one who was going to run for mayor this year, this last term, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. She's got all that information about who's bought by who.
That it would be a great way to show everybody here why these guys are speaking up so highly about these companies or holding more or giving those companies more value weight over us. And that's insane. That is really insane. Freaking I'm trying to see next info for me. To fire everybody. Yeah. That's what we definitely would have needed that Oscar.
Yeah.
Let's see. He says, Dusty says there are some legal ways to hide how they make their money.
Mhm.
Yeah. As always,
Yeah.
they can hide it under those false names. I saw on the last election that they made this environmental group name. It sounded like it was a great environmental group, but it was all like the industrial companies that are pitching in to make this group to make it look like they're for the environment, and they're totally not.
Yeah, I think Exxon was behind that one. The Gulf Coast Joint Ventures people.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what their slogan was. It was like something like a new city or something like that.
Wow, that's crazy. But I know too. You were talking about those another gentleman. I don't know if you were able to get with him about
Yeah.
be willing. Were you able to touch base with him or not yet? Because I don't want to mention his name until we get something
Yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah, I talked to him. He said he'll get in touch with you soon, is what he said. His name's Jason Hale, and
Mm.
he went to school at Kingsville, graduated in the top of his class, I think the top three for chemical engineering. He's not a chemical engineer, but he studied that in school, and he's really taken a deep dive into the whole desalination. And I think he has a better grasp of it than anybody at Friesen Nichols, Hewitt, GHD, or the city staff. So hopefully you'll have him on shortly, and he can answer any technical questions about the whole desalination process.
Well, I don't know if you got a cut and run or not, but I do want to thank you for bearing with me because we were actually supposed to go live about 5 o'clock or 5:30, but my son came by the shop and was talking about a life decision that he wanted to make, so I had to have some father-son time, and it's not often, but when it does, I got to kind of get it while I can, kind of deal. So, but I do appreciate you coming on and talking with us, and again too, anytime you find out anything, bro, like you forward over to me with the details and everything, and we can get it up there so that way we can keep the general public up to speed about what's going on, because a lot of people don't know. Today, I was just talking to a customer. He had no idea. Oh, well, we need water. I said, but that's the deal. It's not for us. He's like, but we're in drought. I said, exactly my point. Like, and he goes, okay, hold on. And so I sat there for about 10 minutes explaining. He was like, what? Like, I said, that's exactly like everybody just hears desal, drought. Oh, they need to go. No, they do not go hand in hand in this current situation. And so I was explaining to it, and here, so follow the channel, guys. So again, and even on that phone call, they just happen to see that video of all the cities that are going to be affected for the beach deal, and they're like, "Wow, I, you know, didn't even know about that either." So I was kind of explaining that. So
And I can hang out for a little while longer if you want. I could show a couple more slides if the audience wants to
please, yeah,
see them.
yeah. No, I'm not kicking you
Okay.
off. I didn't know how long you were available for, especially since we're supposed to go early. So please
Yeah.
share everything
Yeah.
you got.
Here, I'll share some more stuff here. And so like this picture here is about how they're going to dispose the brine. And so basically what the experts have said is, so brine is like double salty water, and it's heavier than the normal water. So it tends to sink to the bottom. And when it does sink to the bottom, then it won't disperse and it won't mix with the other water. And that's what causes this hypoxia. So let me pull up another slide here. So the near field model that evaluates the stuff that happens within the first 500 feet. And then the far field model is the harder stuff to predict because it happens after that. Flip this back over here again. And so I've got some stuff from, so Ben Hodges is one of the experts in that. And he talks about how he says the higher salinity water is heavier and forms a layer beneath the lighter, lower salinity water. And so it creates a stratified water. And of course, fishermen know all about this stuff, right? How, different temperatures of water at different levels. Well, this, you get this, they call them like plumes of brine, and they create these hypoxic zones, which create dead zones. And I could share this with Albert too. This paper by Dr. Hodges that he talks about it, but he doesn't think there's any way that the water in the inner harbor will mix the way it needs to mix. So what he basically thinks, it's going to just fill up in the ship channel, and it's just going to keep moving out all the way to like Port A through the ship channel. It's just going to fill up there and stay there. And then there's been some comments from Texas Park and Wildlife, and they're really concerned about this because they say when it's really hot out, a lot of the fish like to go to the cooler places, which would be the bottom of the ship channel, because that's the deepest place in the bay. It's like 54 feet deep. I think the rest of the bay averages like a little less than 10 feet. So if the fish go in the bottom of the ship channel and then there's this big hypoxic zone there, they're just going to suffocate, or any
So
other creatures.
it's not just during the heat; it's during the cold. When it's
Okay.
extreme cold, they go to deeper water to stay warm, which is crazy. You would think it'd be the opposite, but it's actually they go to deeper water, and so again, then it's going to suffocate them. So we're going to lose fish in the hot months and in the cold months, is what you're saying. With that, wow, okay.
Yeah, I think I've got kind of I don't know if you'll be able to see this picture of this. This is in Ben Hodges' report. But basically it shows how the brine's being discharged. There's the near field, and then the far field, and then things mix above it, but nothing mixes in it. So you just have this layer, this stratified layer on the bottom of the bay that is lacking oxygen. And so, yeah, it's definitely something to be concerned. And he doesn't think there's any way to set up these diffusers to get it to mix properly.
Well, yeah, of course, because we don't have enough water coming in to mix it with. Like there's not enough. And we know this because in the Bay of Corpus Christi, we got the dead zone, the death triangle that happens pretty much every summertime when it gets hot enough. There's no fish in the Bay of Corpus Christi in that whole area because the salinity is so high. There's no oxygen. And wow, this is going to be catastrophic failure for the whole bay right there, and it ain't going to take long. It will, those big boats coming in and pushing that salinity up, and whatever it does mix up, it's going to happen. Some of it's going to get mixed up because those big ships that are coming in, especially once they pull the harbor bridge out and they have the new harbor bridge up, and the bigger boats come in, they're going to be eventually pushing all that super salinated water into already salty water, and it's going to end up cooking the bay here pretty soon. So that's something else that they're not even taking into consideration. So, wow.
Yeah, and a lot of people think like the Nueces River goes into the inner harbor, but the inner harbor is just like a dead end street. There
Yeah.
aren't any. The only water flows that go into the inner harbor come from the wastewater from these industries. Actually, let's see if I have that up here. I can. Yeah, I don't know if I brought that one up or not, but I think I have it here. Let me find it. So there's
Yeah.
this model that TCEQ does. It's called the Qualtex model.
What was
And
that? Oh, the discount company deal? Okay.
It's straight from them.
Oh, okay.
So I got all the information, got all I got to take it to Walmart in the morning, and my 90-day supply is going to be $30.
There you go. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. No, I missed what you said, boss.
okay, so TCEQ, which has to do the permitting for these plants, and
That's for them.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Like, God, they
yeah,
pissed me off bad.
yeah,
That's a whole nother program right
yeah,
there. So
yeah. They're definitely not a regulator. They're a permitting. That's all they do is issue permits. That's what they do. And so they have this model called the Qualtex model, and they put in all the inflows and outflows into the inner harbor. So I've got it in front of me. This one's kind of hard to read, but I'll just read off a couple of them. So one of the inflows to the inner harbor is Flint Hills Waste. It's 6.9 million gallons a day. Another one is Valero, 2.4 million gallons a day. Equistar, 2 million gallons a day. Another Valero, 3 million gallons a day. American Chrome puts 2.4 million gallons a day. Citgo puts 3.5 million gallons a day. And the city's Broadway wastewater treatment plant puts in at least 4 million gallons a day on average. So those are all the inflows that go in the inner harbor, and it's about like 30 to 40 million gallons a day in inflows. But in this Qualtex model that the TCQ did, they're showing the Nueces Bay Power Station as only taking 14.5 million gallons a day out.
so
But
they're
if
way
you
off.
look at, they're way off, and they know this because I let them know this. So TCQ knows that they're off by about 270 million gallons, 280 million gallons a day. And that's a big difference because what their model shows is it shows that there's more outflow from the inner harbor than there is inflow. And that's just not correct because of the Nueces Bay Power Station. And so what the implication is the fluent in the outgoing tide will be much more concentrated than what the modeling shows it will be. And it'll be high enough to exceed the permit levels. So I've let TCQ know this. They're well aware of this. And I've also let the city know this. I let Drew Molly know this. He knows that the data for the model is incorrect. He's the CEO of the water department. And since he hasn't been responding to this to fix the numbers to run the model again, I let Peter Zanoni know about this. The TCQ knows, the TCQ commissioners know, Drew Molly knows, Peter Zanoni knows. They all know that the data input is incorrect that was used for this permit.
And you
And
have, I'm pretty sure you sent this all out through email, correct?
I did. And I even, because you can't send an email to the TCEQ commissioners. So what I did is I looked up and found out where they lived in Austin. And there's 3 commissioners. And I could only find 2 of them owning property in Austin. So I sent them a physical letter with all the proof that their employees know that this data is incorrect. So 2 of the 3 commissioners received a personal letter from me. Everybody else has gotten emails, and I've got all the emails still. Of course, the personal letter just went through the mail. But they all
That's
know
awesome. You did that. That is awesome.
there's no other way. You can't talk to them. You can't get their work emails. Nobody will give them to you. So I sent them personal letters. So everybody knows that this data is wrong. And if this data was corrected, they wouldn't meet the permit requirements.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that is all the information we need to start sharing. And what's crazy too is last week I had an interview with the Houston Chronica that they called me because the Sierra Club actually referred them to come talk to me about that, which I think was pretty awesome. Big shout out to Sierra Club for sending them my way for sure, because I guess they knew somebody was angry. You know what I mean? I'm doing what I can, guys. We are doing what we can, but we still need everybody on here to keep blowing them up. Like, they need to know that we are paying attention. And at the end of every single one of those, you need to, or at the beginning, hey, let them know, come voting section in November again. We are
Yeah.
going to be on this. And so, yeah. And I believe, well, I don't know if we started a Desal petition, but I believe we started one for the turtle program. I just hadn't been able to get on it because a lot more information is coming through with the desal and the beach closures than it is with the turtle program. That one has been a hard fought battle there too, which I'm still game for. Like, I'm still game for it. I just, yeah, I don't know. Like, we need help, guys. We definitely know. You know, if some of y'all want to give us a helping hand on getting this started and stuff like that, we are definitely. I'll help any way I can to share and this and that, but to be honest, to sit there and like stop everything to get this, um, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty crazy. So,
Jason Hale actually has a desal petition started. So when you get him on the show, he could share that link with everybody. I think he's got a couple hundred signatures so far.
well, we can definitely help get a lot more. That's for sure. So, oh
Yeah.
man, that you just blew me away with a whole bunch of information right there. It's like, wow, that. But yeah, all those diagrams you sent me, send me all of that, but also
Yeah.
too send me the emails where they have been sent
Okay.
this information, so that way we can make a video of, hey, they've been shown, this has been shown, they've been shown, so there is no denial. Oh, we didn't know this, we didn't know this, or how do
Yeah.
you not? At the end of the day, there is no way to deny it, because if you were doing your job right, you would do the due diligence of doing the research that you have done, and you have found it. Like, they should be doing the same damn thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I just think they don't know what they're doing. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Drew Molly's not a desal guy. He's a
No, no,
wastewater
no,
guy.
no. They know what they're doing. I'm gonna show you what they know what they're doing. Hold on, I'm gonna show it to you. I got it right here somewhere. The roaches ain't carried mine off real quick. No, I don't have roaches, but I do. Oh, it's in the truck. I was gonna grab my wallet. They know how to fill that up. That's what they know how to do.
Yeah,
Except not mine. They know how to delete our wallets, but they don't know how to, you know. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So yeah, send me that info, boss.
yeah, I sure
Every
will.
all of
And
that info is very important because again, too, I want to say I heard something about it, but I didn't like I wasn't focused in on what was being said because I'm here at the shop trying to listen, and then I hear all of this, but I wasn't able to actually like see the numbers and what they were referring to. So when they were saying it, I was like, that like sounds like they're the other companies are not understanding the numbers that are put there, or they're completely denying it because they're being paid off not to admit to those numbers. So
yeah, and you try to figure out what the angle is, well, why these people are pushing this so hard, and that's an interesting thing. I think, the mayor, maybe she wants her name on it. Mary Rhodes got her name on the pipeline. Maybe she wants it to be the Paulette Guajardo desal plant.
they killed the
Um,
bear.
yeah, they
That's the,
killed the bay.
that's going to be the title. I was waiting for you to say it. I was like, oh, you thought I
Yeah,
was kind of waiting for my. No,
and
that's a huge one right there. Like this thing will kill the bay. There's no way to look at it, And the other one that is drawing in all that water, they're you said they're putting it back into the bay, but aren't they drying it out and stuff like that, or but it's only just heated up water, but still heated up water can
oh,
still produce, other kinds of toxins and stuff like that, can it?
the Nueces Bay Power Station, all it does is take the water out of the inner harbor, and then it uses it to cool it, and it dumps it into Nueces Bay. And so it's just putting water a little bit warmer into Nueces Bay. But the big concern about the desal plant is it's putting its brine discharge in the inner harbor. And
Mm.
so that Nueces Bay Power Station is going to act like a big vacuum, right? It's going to vacuum up all that super salty brine discharge, and it's going to dump it in Nueces Bay. And Nueces Bay already has salinity issues and other, issues as far as fish and wildlife. So you're just going to make those worse, you know.
Yep.
And they
So
aren't even considering that. The DHD isn't even going to monitor Nueces Bay, you know. It's the
I
Nueces
that's
Bay
what
will be impacted a lot.
I still don't understand how Texas Parks and Wildlife has not like put a stop to this because they already know this is their job. This is their job to protect marine life and not just marine, but animals on land and stuff like that. Like this is their job. How are they not creating a bigger stink than we are? I
Well,
don't understand it. They can come to my home if they feel I am being a uh, poacher. But these
yeah.
companies that are intentionally going to kill all of these deals, all this marine life, like how are they not creating a fuss? Like how are they not putting a stop to this?
So Texas Park and Wildlife actually did. They commented on the permit application, and they had some serious concerns about it. But the city has just totally disregarded that. TCQ has disregarded that. But Texas Park and Wildlife has. I'll try to find that document and I'll send it to you. But they didn't like it. They thought it was a bad idea.
Well, there,
The Heart Research Institute of the Gulf of Mexico studies, they think it should all be offshore. They should be no discharges in the bay system.
yep, I'm in total agreement with that. You know what I mean? But again, too, let them foot the bill. Let
Yeah,
them maintain it. Let them be in charge when it has to be shut down because you know what? Then it's on them, not on us,
exactly.
especially if it's not helping us out in any way, shape, or form. Like, let them maintain it. Let them spend their own money to do this while we use our own money to fix our own program or our own problems here within the city water municipality, deals here. Like they need to fix it here rather than, they're trying to bring in more business, but we can't even grow because our water can't even be sustained here locally. And did they ever answer that question of how they lost all those millions of gallons of water, or a billion? I think it was almost a billion gallons of water, something like that. I may be off on the number, but I know they lost a lot of water. And
Yeah,
have they figured that out?
I didn't ever see what happened to that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's truly amazing. Uh,
Yeah. And Texas Park and Wildlife, actually, they did a study about where to put desalination plants, and they suggested they had these green zones they said would be good places for like expedited permitting. And this map will be kind of hard to see, but you'll get a better copy of it. But these are the green zones, but Texan Park and Wildlife said to put it, and they're all offshore, and none of them are by where you come into the Corpus Christi Bay. So they're kind of like um, south of Flower Bluff, all offshore, and quite a bit north of or east of Port A, and it's all offshore. Um,
but that's all offshore.
all offshore, nothing in the bay systems. And I think, you know, all the experts, marine biologists, they all agree with that. There was an article in, let me see if I have that. I don't have that one, but there was one other desal plant that's really close to the inner harbor. They tried to do, and it was in Brownsville, in the ship channel in Brownsville. And this was quite a few years ago. They did let me see if I can find this study. They did a study on it in February of 2009. And so they built a pilot project there because they were going to put a desalination plant in the ship channel in Brownsville. And they ran this pilot project for quite some time, and they spent a lot of money on it, and they decided not to build it there because it was a poor location for a desal plant. And then they came out with this lessons learned, and one of the lessons learned was, it says, as was addressed in the Brownville pilot study, it is recommended that future pilot studies in the state of Texas include 12 months of operation to capture seasonal differences in raw water quality. Most of the pilot studies implemented in California and Florida are performed over a 12-month period of operation or more. A scope of services nature is well beyond the requirements of TCEQ, ensuring both TCEQ and the project needs are met. So TCEQ requires you to do it for 90 days. And that's all the city's going to do it for 90 days, even though this study said you should run it for a year. And they know all this stuff. I've given them the studies. I've met with them. I've met with Drew Molly like 3 times now, given them everything. And they refuse to follow the science, to follow other people that have tried this before and it didn't work. Yeah.
Wow. This is
Yeah.
just going. This is showing the level of ignorance or well-paid ignorance on their behalf of them truly selling out the city, and they don't care what happens to our bay. They don't care what happens to our um, water bill, light bills, and all of this. Like, they really don't care, because if they did, they would not be allowing for, all this proof to come out to show you that why it's so bad, and they're still not doing it.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, it's just crazy. And I think what it really comes down to is, a good insurance policy would be is to, do some of these proper far field models. So there's two other major desalination projects in the US. One is in Tampa Bay, Florida, which is pretty much an open bay system. And one is in Carlsbad, California, which dumps into the Pacific Ocean. Neither of them are in closed bay systems, but both of them did far field studies. So it's like it's just the absolute worst location for a desalination plant in a ship channel in an enclosed bay. It can't get
Yep.
any worse than that.
Exactly. At the end of the day, any fisherman that has any kind of season time on the bay or in the Gulf could be able to tell you that in a heartbeat. Like, yeah, there's just not enough water coming in to move the water so far back in the bay. Like, there's just not enough. And for them to just blatantly ignore all this information is telling you that they have been bought and well paid for to them, and it boils back to this. When it fails, it's not if it fails. When it fails, everything built in saltwater will break down.
Yeah.
Everything. There is nothing in the saltwater environment that will last more than a few years before it has start having problems. There's nothing. When it fails, who are they going to sue?
Mhm.
Destruction of the bay, destruction of the plant, destruction of the electrical systems in our area, destruction of the air as well, because obviously it's going to be doing its function. It's going to create some kind of atmospheric interference or debris or smoke, something like it's going to create something. There's no way it cannot operate and have clean air coming out. What are they going to do about that? Like, that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it best. The industry should pay for it because the water's for them, and then they should put it offshore, and then nobody's going to have a problem with that. If it's properly placed far enough offshore, not in like a spawning area or, where fish migrate, everybody will be fine with that. And if industry
No
pays for it.
sludge.
Yeah, no sludge.
No
Yeah,
sludge. Like,
no sludge.
still no permit for that. Like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, no sludge. But I think like 95% of people would be okay if it was done properly. They did the research, industry paid for it. But
I would be one of them. You know what I mean?
and
But again,
I would too. And the problem is so like you said, when the plant fails, who's going to foot the bill? We're all
how
going to
much
foot.
is that bill going to be?
Yeah. And speaking of that, so the Tampa Bay plant, the city uses that as an example a lot. So the Tampa Bay desal plant shut down about a year and a half ago because of something you said, because the salt degraded some of the racks the RO units were on. And the last I heard, the plant was still not in operation. So I did kind of some quick math last fall after talking to the COO of the desal plant in Tampa. And I was discussing with him like last November, and the plant still wasn't up as of last November. So when our city staff went to visit that plant, it wasn't in operation. But they came back with glowing reports of this plant that wasn't working, which is just ridiculous. And we paid all the money to send them out there, the hotel rooms at the Hilton, wherever they stayed at, the airfare, the food, to look,
Drinks.
yeah, to tour a non-operational desal plant. So the numbers last November. So this plant is rated at 25 million gallons a day, and it was like I said, this is all November data, so it looked even worse today. So 25 million gallons a day it's supposed to use. It's been in operation 17 years. They average 5.38 million gallons a day over 17 years. So that means that 5 million gallons a day they actually got cost 5 times more than they told the ratepayers it was going to cost. Because they were presuming they were going to get 25 million gallons a day, and they only got 5. Same thing's going to happen with the Inner Harbor. They're going to put this 30 million gallon a day plant in, and they'll be lucky to get 5 average. So that water is going to be 6 times more expensive than they told everybody it was going to be.
Because that also boils back down to that salinity deal that you were talking about. When it comes out of that pipe, it settles to the bottom, which is only 900 feet away from the intake, correct? So eventually
Yeah,
it's going to
it's pretty
fill up
close.
that whole area with high salinity water, so soon it won't even be able to pull any water out of that area.
It'll be sucking. So it'll do one of two things. So if all this super salinity water doesn't mix, it'll just go down to the bottom of the ship channel and just keep going all the way out until it gets to port A. Now, if it does mix, if they can get their diffuser set up so it mixes, or when the ships go by, it mixes, what's going to happen is the intake is going to suck in all the waste from the discharge. So those filters are going to get clogged. The pre-filters are going to get clogged. They're going to have to shut down the plant. And then there's a feedback loop too. So nobody's talked about the feedback loop other than Jason Hale. So the feedback loop is, so the water that comes, the discharge water is a higher salinity than they expected because the intake water is a higher salinity. So then the discharge water continues to get higher salinity, and then the intake water gets higher salinity. So there's this positive feedback loop. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up, and that's not a good thing either. So
Wow.
you got two cases. It's either going to suck its own poop and not work, or it's going to function correctly and kill the bay. So you got two options. You either kill the bay or it just doesn't work at the rated capacity, and it costs everybody way more than we were told it's going to cost us.
And then what happens there?
Yeah. Then we just,
because those companies again aren't getting the water they were promised. So what happens there? Like,
yeah,
they're just no, bro. They are setting up the city for, what does it call it? We're gonna be financially ruined for the next like 100 years. Like we were had lost the city financially. And what happens then? Oh, well, we'll just buy the whole city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That wow.
So one council member, his name is Gil Hernandez. He's very conservative, Republican guy, fiscally conservative. His biggest beef about it is the money, because he said right now the water department, about 20% of the water department of the revenue from the water department goes to pay debt. And if this plant gets built, it'll be 50%. So half of all the money we pay to the water department will just go to service our debt.
So that means our water bills will go down?
No,
yeah. see, you see what I'm saying? Like, hold on. So they're going to make money off of it, but it's only to pay off our debt. But does that mean our water bill is going to go down? Like, so it offsets what we're supposed to be paying for it?
So it means your kids and your grandkids are going to be paying for this desal plant forever. I mean, basically 30 years or whatever. Even if it doesn't work, you still got to pay off the loan, right?
Yeah. And they've already requested these loans and all this and that, right?
Oh, yeah. They have the loans approved from the state. I think they have 2 loans. One's for like 221 million and the other one's for 500 and some million from the state. And one thing that they're not telling anybody, so they keep telling everybody they have the permit from TCEQ. They've been touting that since I think like January. They went to Austin, did a big media blast and everything. But they're actually lying because they don't have the permit. The permit has not been issued to the city yet. It's still pending as of this morning. I checked. So as of this morning, the city doesn't have a permit. If they say they have a permit, ask to see a copy of it because TCQ has not issued them a permit. But the interesting part about that is those 2 SWIFT loans they got from the state of Texas says they can't spend the money on design or construction until they've received all their permits. So where's the money
How many?
coming from right now? That's
The
my
what?
question. My question is, where is the money coming from right now that they're paying for Kiewit to design this plant? Because they're not supposed to be using any of this loan money until they have all their permits. And they
Right.
don't have all their permits. They don't have the TCEQ wastewater discharge permit as of this morning. They're lying to everybody.
So again, once they because right now I know TCEQ ain't worth anything because they denied our claim because they say we didn't live within a mile or 2 miles of the
Yeah.
actual plant, which totally missed the fact that once the bay is contaminated and ruined because of this desal plant, I am directly affected because I am in the fishing industry.
Yeah.
So when they said that, I was just like, what moron was doing this? But again, too, it's their deal. Well, no, he's not directly because he's not in contact. No, moron, I am in contact 100% because I supply fishermen that fish in that bay. I buy
Mhm.
bait from those shrimpers out of that bay. Like I am directly affected by them. All those shrimpers, all those fishermen are also directly influenced by
Yeah,
them. All the hotels, all the boats, everything on that bay is affected by this desal plant. Wow, that
exactly.
is
Yeah, you're one of the most affected people. All the tackle shop and bait shop owners are very affected. All the fishermen are affected. It's really interesting. You talk about that. There's a gentleman that lives in the Hillcrest neighborhood, and he's been fishing right in the neighborhood for like 20 years, and he eats this fish. He barbecues it and everything. And I don't know if you've ever fished in that area, but if you go like underneath the new bridge, there's there's a kind of a body of water back there, like a wetland area, and that's where he fishes. And it's right next to the desal plant. And they didn't give him standing either. TCQ didn't. They said he was
wow.
an affected party.
So basically, they did a dog and pony show. They showed up
Exactly.
for us to pony up, and then they didn't do nothing about it.
Yeah, they didn't listen
Wow.
to any of the comment. They
Yeah.
just said, "We're gonna issue the permit," but they still haven't issued the permit yet. It's still pending. The city keeps trying to they wanna railroad this thing, and they want the residents to think it's a done deal, right? So they're like, "We
Yeah.
got the permit." But they still
Yeah.
don't have the permit. As of this morning, they still don't have the permit. It's still pending.
Do you have where I remember I saw something on there where they posted up that we received the permit from them.
Yeah.
That way I could do a video and show from the TCEQ as of today they are lying that they still have not. If you have that info, send
Yeah,
it
I
to me.
got
I
it.
will do it. I will do a smash video on that, calling them out on it. And what's crazy is every time I do these videos, I get a call from the local news station and they ask me, and they're like, hey, so what do you know about all of this? Here you go, buddy. Yep.
Yeah.
So no, send it. Let's put it out there because again, too, the corruption, that's again, too, they're putting out the false narrative of what's happening so people automatically give up and they don't continue on in the fight. No, there's still a fight there, guys. And again, too, when it comes to November to vote these crooked waste of space on that board out of there, that's when you got to go do it, guys. Like we can't do it by ourselves. It already shows we got a few guys in there, but we need more active voters to get in on this to help us out. Because, oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. Sadly, this November there is an election. You got to wait till the following November. But something is going to happen this November. The city council is going to have to vote sometime this fall when this project is 60% designed. They're going to have to vote on a contract whether to complete the project or not. So that will be really important. This fall, people need to put massive pressure on the council to vote no against letting this project continue on. I mean, it would be better if they just did it now and just stopped the project now.
Yeah,
And
stop wasting our time and city taxpayer time, and
yeah,
actually start fixing the problem here, like
yeah,
with the water in our city, in our the loss of water. Like, I mean, there's so many problems they could actually be putting their energy into, and they're wasting our time and their time on the board. You know, it's ridiculous. This is crazy. So
yeah, it would be better the sooner we stop it, the more money we'll save. That's for sure. Without
that
a doubt. And like
yeah.
you said, we could focus on other problems like all the water leaks in the pipelines. They're leaking all over the city.
Mm-hmm.
I
That
think they lose over 1 billion gallons a year in water loss, just leaks.
Well, I know I saw that the other day, and I was sitting there just mad as hell watching all this water. They were doing road construction, and they had all these tubes collecting all the water out of that area and putting it right into the drain. I was like,
Yeah.
and that went on for weeks. That went on for weeks, and it was right here off of Everhart and McCardle, because I used to go over there for my. Well, I'm asked to go over there, but I was going over there for my chiropractic work. So every Monday and Thursday, I had to drive by that and see the water just pouring into the drain week after week after week after week. And it wasn't just like a dribble, it wasn't a steady stream. It was multiple, 3 to 4 inch hoses going into the drain full throttle. Just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's, but they want these desal plants because of drought conditions.
Yeah.
Moron.
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay if they do desal offshore and have the businesses pay for it that want the water. But
I vote yes. If you take it
yeah,
to that level, I vote yes. Because again, too, when it fails,
yeah,
they're
they're on the
responsible
hook.
for it. They're on the hook for all of that. And right now, we're on the hook. The whole city as a whole is
Exactly.
on the hook. Wow,
Yeah, we're
wow,
the
that
insurance policy, and what I was suggesting, some of the council members ask Hewitt and say, so Hewitt, are you going to put in writing, guarantee us that when you design and build this plant, that it will operate at capacity and not damage the bay system? And if it fails to do either or, if it fails to not work at capacity or damage the bay system, we get a full refund. And if they
I
won't
still,
do that,
I mean, I can understand that, but ultimately, we are kind of screwed on this deal.
yeah,
By doing that is one, but two, like that they promise not to hold us accountable for when it goes down.
yeah, yeah,
Red tide, brown tide, which is coming because for all the fishermen that have noticed on the beaches, if you've been fishing more than 5 years, you notice that we have not had the seaweed conditions that we are having this year. It has been probably a good 8 to 9 years that we haven't had the serious weed conditions that we've been having. I am afraid, and I'm going to knock on wood, that we are going to start seeing red tide back in our waters. When that happens, we're going to have brown tide in the bay. And then red tide will get in there. And again, we're going to have all that dead fish and human, I'm not going to say casualties, but human exposure as well, where a lot of, for a time there, the hospitals were at full capacity. They couldn't even take on any more people because of all the breathing problems that they were having from everybody on Ocean Drive. So when that happens, that we not be held accountable for it. I guarantee that's going to be, oh, no, that's a no. Like we are promised water. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Mhm.
It's, mm-mm. Oh, I'm more bending wire, making the wire frames for my surf weights and stuff. It's just,
Oh, good. Yeah, it's a tough deal, and I'll definitely make sure Jason gets on with you to give you if he can answer any super technical questions, and I'll provide all these reports and emails to you. So
I saw you writing them down. I was like, yes, I'm gonna get
yeah,
that. I
yeah,
think that.
I got the list here. Yeah,
So stay tuned, guys. We are about to have a lot of information that is going to further shed light on all this darkness that's happening in our city, all the cover up that is happening. Because, again, too, like, how can you not just see it? Like, I mean, it's there. It is, and if you're sitting there and still voting, oh, and I would laugh when I'm up there, doing the public comment and, oh, we're in drought and we need the water and da da da. And so that's one of the main things I always say. Stop telling them it's for us. That's a lie.
yeah,
You are straight lying to the general public about it. And so it is. That was one of the videos I did. I actually found it on there where the city council members have stated that it was exuberantly expensive to build a pipeline from the other side of the bay to our side of the bay to give us that water that was going to come out of that plant. So
mhm,
they've already come to light about it. But
yeah,
again, nobody is there.
yeah. They're spending a lot of money on this propaganda campaign. Our money, of course.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Yes, sir. And then all the ones that are going up there, we know that they're either tied to Refinery Row or whatever that is needing that's to come in, so that way their jobs can expand or whatever. But again, it's not much. It really isn't much. They're going to bring
Yeah.
in their workers from everywhere else. So
And
wow.
a lot of the big petrochemical plants are automating a lot more than they have in the past. So, they're laying off people because they don't need as many people anymore. They're automating a lot of the operations.
Hmm.
Um, so you won't see a lot more jobs coming. Even if we get some plants, they're not going to hire a lot of people. I think like the Avena plant they want to build out in Robstown, maybe a couple hundred people. But they need like 9 million gallons of water a day. These big plants. So
That's insane right there. So. Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I do appreciate it, but I'm gonna start talking about this mega drawing I got and some other things
All
and stuff
right.
like that.
Sounds
So
good.
I appreciate your time today, bro. It has been a true. This is a lot of knowledge that like I had a little inkling of it, but now you just kicked open some doors for us. I do appreciate it, and I look forward to all that information. I'm gonna be putting together some good videos. I'll let you know when they go up, and definitely, if I have any questions, I know where to go to get back on track or what have you and stuff. So,
All right. Well, thank you for all your work on this and spreading the word to the public. And thank you for your service. Semper Fi.
hurrah! Do you have a good one, brother?
Hoorah.
Later.
Yep.
All right, guys. So that is awesome, man. I'm excited. That is sweet. So, all right, real quick because I know I don't have much video left over here, but we are for the mega fire drawing that we were doing. Again, too, guys, this is, I'm doing a fundraiser. If y'all missed out on the other videos where I've been talking about it, I'm doing this as a fundraiser for the shop. I'm trying to, I make some moves, but I kind of come up with like $10,000 pretty quickly to make this happen before the end of the year. There's about a 3 to 6 month window once I get it paid, that I have to have it all paid for by that end period. And if I don't get it started now, then it'll be sometime next year, and it's going to be that much more harder because, you know, every year prices go up. So what I'm trying to do is get it all done before the end of the year. So what I'm doing is instead of doing a GoFundMe or getting a loan from the bank, I'm doing a drawing here where I'm offering up an 80Y T-Rex 3-speed, and I have I've gotten some pictures. So give me a second, guys. I'm gonna show you what they look like. Do, do, do. Uh, where's that? So there's the pink in the 83 speed T-Rex right there, which is beautiful. There's some more. And then there's the other one. Orange is in the house. Yep. So yeah, I am pretty stoked on that, guys. And again, big shout out to Avet Reels for taking it back and producing those colors for us and stuff like that. So uh, yeah, I'm really excited. I want. Um, it looks like I'm getting off the bat because they were still producing a lot of this gear and stuff like that. Uh, but yes, we also hold on. We are on back order for to purple, red, and blue are the other colors that we got on back order right there. So um, yeah. But the first ones that are coming in are the pink. We're getting 6 of the pink ones coming in, and or 7 pinks, 1 orange, and then the medium rail covers that I also ordered too. Um, yeah, yeah. So they have shipped today, so I can track them. I'll give it to tomorrow before I can get a date when we get that. But yes, it is coming, guys. So I'm really excited. I am still taking pre-orders for those reels, and we'll see what's up. But yeah, I didn't order any of the black, but I did order red, purple, and I think I said like the blue. But I think gunmetal is also in there on the next order and stuff like that. I couldn't get. Gotta understand, guys. I couldn't order all of these out of pocket on the hopes that the color would sell. I know they would sell, but I don't have $30,000 to throw down on this, and sit there and wait on it. Like I need to move the money around and get it to turn around faster. So, but yeah. So as of right now, we are at $1,120 for this. We have to have a minimum of $1,250. But again, too, that does not help me at all. You know what I mean? That only gets a reel sold. The goal is to raise more money than that to do uh, to make the moves, guys. So I need the extra sales of ticket sales on that to be able to make that kind of uh, plan happen. Like I said, instead of doing a GoFundMe where y'all don't get, all y'all get is a donation and a thank you. This way, somebody will get something in return. Also, too, if the reel is too big for what you want, uh, we can set it up to where you have $1,250 in in-store credit here. Uh, that's would have been the price of the reel with taxes included and stuff like that. So there you go. Well, there you go, John. They're coming in, boss. They're coming in. But the only way I can hold them is obviously to be paid with them and stuff like that. So there you go, John on the fire. All right, so that puts us at 1,140. Hard life. Yep. Mm-hmm. Roger that. Okay. Right. All right. Well, we'll see what's up when I end the video here. I'm still bending wire over here. I think I got like 20 pounds still in the box. Roger that. All right. Later. Okay, boss. All right. Like. Oh man. I feel you there, Slime Time. Funds are tight. Like, I just bought 70 pounds of 1/16, the welding rods that we use for our surf weights. And I cut 60 pounds of it last night, sanded it, and I started bending yesterday. So um, I actually didn't start my count of the wires, but that's an easy deal because I have a closed box and I weighed all the boxes, so all of them weighed out exactly. So what I can do is weigh out or count the closed box, and I can figure out exactly how many rods there are per box because I have the math set up on here where I can figure that out. And I had it done before, I just haven't done it in a minute, but I want to go and get that sorted pretty quick so I can make sure I know exactly how many surf weights I can allot for. I'm looking to do about 1,000 or 500 to 1,000 surf weights of each size between the 2 and the 6 ounce. So yeah, a lot of weight right there. Well, you never know, Slime Time. They did put your name. Was it yours? Yeah, you're in here for a ticket. It only takes one, but again, too, guys, like I said, this is a fundraiser. I'm trying to raise money. So the more money we can get over the 1250 is what's going to help me make my next move and stuff like that, too, guys. So. Um, Stainless steel TIG filler rod. I have no idea what's the difference between this and the rod you're talking about. The ones we get are in 3-foot sections. So I'll be honest, I'm not a welder. I don't know what the proper term is for all this. And all I know it's the stainless steel that I use to make my weights. So. But you can tell there's also 2 different types of 308. So I bent them both the same way, and these bent straight across. These kind of bent like that, like they're a lot more springy. And it's still a 308. That's what I don't get. Like, uh, and Daniel what I can do is I can show you all the names that are in the mega as of right now. So a few of the names were bought for y'all. Give me a second, real quick. See if I get this, flip this around. Oh, crap. All right, so those are all the names in the pot. Sharkotic, Dusty, Daniel Garcia, Slime Time, Oscar Ayala, Uber, Whiskey, Untamed Catch, Matthew, Daniel Garcia, Rick Sotelo again, Adrian Lopez, Marco Cantu, William Doty, Uber, Controlled Expansion, Night Hunter, Hurting for Surgeon, Zach, Angel, Oscar, William, and John Darnell. And those were from today's live feed right there, too. So as soon as the reels come in, which I'm hoping is Friday, is when we'll actually hold the drawing. I'm looking to uh, get that sorted. I want them in house so you can see what I have all to offer, because I have a feeling once I get them in, that's what make the fire drawing really kick off. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I got a lot more wire to build. Right now I'm folding them in half. This is the next step. This is step 1, 2, 3. This is step number 3. And then I have 4 on the next one. So, let's see. Angel, yes, you did. Yep. You bought a ticket. I thought, yeah, you're in there. Or let's see, where's that? Yeah, I remember that. It was one ticket, correct? The other night. Oh, and Kruger sent Desal. Let me check that. All right. I thought I put it in there. I guess I did. My bad, Angel. I remember that though. Uh, I think my leprechaun left me. There you go. So that it does. It only takes one. Oh, excuse me. Severe thunderstorms tonight, 7 through midnight. Okay, let's see how this is looking. Check the radar real quick. Ooh. Yeah, we got some rain coming. See the blue dot where I'm at? Look at that big storm coming in from the north. Ooh. It's coming. Bring that rain, baby. Bring that rain. Yeah. So, I know for the guys that are already getting rain, y'all are, no, no, no. And I'm like, we need it over here, though. And I wish it would kind of just open up and pour down here kind of deal and not have to go up there. But, yeah. All right. Dusty, another 20 in there. Roger that. Second. All right, so that puts us at 1,120, 40, 60, 70. We're at $1,170 right now, guys. Oh, okay, so he said one for hard life and one for slime. All right, so all right, so nope, I corrected it. For hard life and then for slime right there. There you go. Yes, we will be doing the live tomorrow and Friday. I'm gonna try to do a live every day just to keep pushing this, and we will definitely see what's going on with that. Um, but I definitely got to keep working these wires and stuff like that. And so I'm gonna kind of give you an idea of what's going on here. So this is the big section. I already finished off the small section, and Jeff already took those, but I can't even get them out of there. So many. Hold on. They're not coming out of the box. That's a lot of sulfates in there, guys. Right there. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot of them there. So that is one bundle that I'm working on over here. Move this over here. So I kind of that. This has already got step 1, step 2, step 3. This is the 4th step. This is the final one. This is the way they're saying how many I've already done. This is already the second amount that I did. The first amount, I already filled up a box, and Jeff already took it over there. So one box is already completely full. That one's 3/4 of the way full, and I still got another bundle right here that's in stage 3 of this evolution. So yeah. Yep. And that's why I had to put this on there, because I used my finger to do the 4th step of this evolution, and it was finally getting pretty tender. So, but y'all can see I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 rods right there that I'm bending at the same time. Got them in the middle right there, and I cinch them down just a little bit more. And that's step number 3 right there. After I get all of it, after I get a pretty good stack here to where I can't leave it there without it falling over, then I'll go take them to step 4, and then I'll come back to these. So basically what I'm doing is I'm bending them to where they're equal on the back end right there. So that way when I do the 4th step, they will stay equal like that. So. Definitely, like I said, guys, he's going to get us some more information. And I completely went brain dead right there, but he's going to get us some information about everything that he's been saying, because that's the thing I've noticed about him. Like he'll stay quiet until he has this. He has the paperwork. Hey, here you go. Here's the information I'm talking about right there in black and white form, and it's all from them emailing him that information. So it's all public record stuff. It just, like he said, it takes the time of people to go in there and look for that information or request it. And even then, too, he stated that for a time there, they were hiding that information. Like they didn't want to give it to him when he was requesting it, and he had to put it out there in public comment, and everybody else started having to do that as well. Put out there in public comment, hey, this is information that when y'all took office, y'all knew that this is all public record. Like we should be able to access this at any given time we want to ensure that we know what's going on, that there ain't no hidden or secret deals and stuff. So him basically saying that, he's emailed all those people that information about this. It is straight up telling us that this is a huge cover up all the way up and down the line. So, yep. We'll see. It is crazy. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see what ends up happening. But again, I'm going to get back to bending wire over here. Again, if you want to get into the mega drawing, guys, again, this is going to help me big time. I need everybody to help out. At least if everybody on the channel can buy at least one ticket, that'll get us exactly where we need to be to make the moves we need to make, which again too, it's going to come right back to y'all. Like all the investments I'm coming is going to help me save money, because that's the other thing. If it boils down that I have to get a loan, well, they're going to charge me interest, which again, too, I have to turn around and put that interest on the product that I'm buying. I'm trying not to do that. This is my way of circumventing that whole process to keep my prices as low as I want them to be. So, again, guys, this is going to help me help you. So, let's get it done. I'm looking forward to it. As soon as those reels come in, you know I'm going to do a video. Oh, I can't wait. Also, too, Joe G came in earlier today and claimed some of his prizes as well too. So he won 2 times on the fire drawings. One of them he bought an LX Raptor spooled up. The second one he bought an MXL Raptor spooled up. I got a video of him in here claiming his prizes as well. And he did a little shout out too. I just thought he was just gonna do a thumbs up, but he did a little spiel, so I was like, awesome, I took it, you know what I mean? So again, guys, we are definitely going to keep putting out all that information about that, as well as the beaches, um, the House bill and Senate bill that they're using to. This is how they're going to take our beaches away, guys. This is really it. That we are on the precipice of us losing beach driving rights to big companies. They are finding their loophole. And if we don't put a stop to it now, guys, all of those cities and towns along the Texas coast will be affected by this deal. So, Leroy, what's up, boss? How you doing? I am bending wire for my surf weights, but got a lot to do. That was easily 20 pounds of weight there, if not a little bit more, but I'm gonna get it done. Be here for probably another couple of hours rocking this. Oh man. Hold on. I moved my other pliers. There they are. So. From the UK. Awesome. If I'm buying these reels, does it go to donations? No. If the reels that you're buying, that is just helping us make sales here in the shop. If you're going to make donations toward this, then yes, it would go toward our fundraising. But the reels that you're buying, that's just helping us get back on our feet, because I'm spending. To clear this whole first batch of reels that I ordered with everything that has been on order, we're probably going to be spending about 25 to 30,000 on just Avet here in the next week or two. I think today alone we cleared about $7,000 for the amount of products that we were getting in right here. Because also too, I got to pay shipping on all of that gear coming in, so it was almost $200 in just shipping costs to get all that gear to me from Avet as well. So it'd be nice to have it, free shipping when you get over $500, but and yeah, it would have been awesome. But no, we're not getting that. So, and we got 3 boxes of those reels coming in. So. Slime says, if I don't win, he'll do anything for a pink one. So, a buddy of mine sent me this the other day. I think you might be interested on it. And don't worry. Let's see, hold on. So where it's at. Oh, where's it at? Let's see.
Now you became Secretary of State.
All right, as soon as I find it, I'll let you. Just a little insight there, slime time. That's what another fisherman sent to me. I said no questions asked, bro. Thank you very much, boss. Oh man, I'm excited. He said feet pics. What is up with there? I've heard that several times with somebody starting a what was that? A fans only page of feet pics. OMG. That's because the women's feet paid more? Wow. Wow. So when y'all were thinking that, I was like, man, so walking through the mud, putting some pictures like that, or yeah. Well, tight lines to you too as well, Leroy. Thank you for chiming in. We are, I don't know how, honestly, I got a few more minutes that I can sit here and chill with y'all guys. Like I said, I'm bending the wires for my surf weights here. And I think something just came through messages. I think it's getting high enough that I need to start doing the fourth step over here. Let's see. Let's oh, they regained its flounder season in North Carolina. Why was it taken away in the first place, boss? And see, that's the thing too. Like I originally I didn't see a whole lot of activity from Texas Parks and Wildlife not getting involved and talking about the desal plant and stuff like that. And then I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of action from them because I know for us here as the tackle shop, you know, they come to our door, they come knocking, and you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Or they find that you're not following through on everything you're supposed to be doing, they hold you accountable. So I have no idea how they're even allowed to not hold this the city council. Why aren't they telling the city council, hey, if y'all allow this to happen, we're coming after y'all, kind of deal? You know what I mean? Why aren't they doing that? I guarantee you that would be a whole different ball game right there. Because again, too, at the end of the day, it's their job to protect the marine life and everything around it. You know what I mean? And if they're not doing their job, then why are they even here? So but we'll see, guys. We'll see what's up. But I am gonna go and end the video because it's started getting dark on me over here. But it's pretty cool. It didn't overheat, but I guess maybe because it's cool outside because of all the rain we've had and stuff. But we're at 68, so I guess we just got to stay below 70 so the phone doesn't overheat too much. But all right, guys, y'all have a good night. I will talk to y'all later. Again, too, the 80 Avet T-Rex 3 speeds are coming in, so stay tuned for that, guys. Y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later.